sentence against a Canadian. Good evening and thank you for joining us. The first wave of evacuees from Northern First Nations staying here in Thunder Bay are beginning to return home this evening. The risk from forest fires is subsiding in Pikangikum, Poplar Hill, and Deer Lake First Nations. William Dougal has more.
Residents of Pikangikum First Nation were given the good news today and will be returning to their home community on Thursday. The Independent First Nations Alliance facilitated the evacuation in mid-July and is now working to repatriate around 1,200 Pikangikum residents from locations around the province, including the use of COVID tests.
So right now we have approximately about 190 Pikangikum people here in the city, and then we have about maybe another 100 or so in Sulikote. And so what we're going to do is we work with the ministry, MNRF, and the Ministry of Emergency Services Ontario, and just coordinating between flights, buses, and making sure that we're just all following safety measures, especially at the airport.
Meanwhile, a parallel effort is underway for the communities of Poplar Hill and Deer Lake First Nations. Nearly 1,000 people came to Thunder Bay and around 700 were hosted by Thunder Bay Fire Rescue following the evacuation last month due to nearby forest fires. Deputy Chief Eric Nordland says they're very close to getting these groups back to their home.
For us, with Poplar Hill, well, that'll begin today, and this evening. Flights are already planned for this evening to begin tonight, and then travel through Wednesday, or flights rather, through Wednesday and Thursday, and then Thursday hopefully finish that up and start with Deer Lake for Thursday and Friday.
During their stay, evacuees have taken part in many activities to help the time pass by. The underground gym hosted children from Deer Lake on Tuesday and gave them a place to have fun away from home, where they could partake in a myriad of games and keep themselves entertained. Gym owner Peter Panetta says times like this are exactly what the gym is for.
Let's just say it's my lifelong endeavor to do this. It's always been in my life, and it's now I'm lucky enough to have it materialize and continue. With the help of so many people. It's crazy, man. The community definitely has come together for the kids.
William Dougal, TBT News.
For the second straight day, the Thunder Bay District Health Unit is reporting a new COVID-19 case. It comes from the Thunder Bay area and is a result of travel outside of northwestern Ontario. The number of active cases throughout the district has now ticked up to 5. Meanwhile, more than 80% of the eligible population aged 12 and up has now received at least one dose of a COVID vaccine, according to the latest health unit numbers. Nearly 70% are fully vaccinated. The province, however, shows higher numbers in this district as it calculates based on a lower population total. It shows 86% have received at least one dose and nearly 76% are fully vaccinated. Less than 2,400 shots were administered in the area last week. That's less than half the week before and down from a high of nearly 17,000 in mid-July. Thunder Bay's latest vaccination numbers come on the same day that the province of Ontario is adding vaccine status to any new COVID case announcements going forward. Corey Nordstrom spoke with Medical Officer of Health Dr. Janet DeMille today about that and the Delta variant numbers in our district.
The severity of illness related to COVID-19 will now be linked to a person's vaccine status in the latest reportings from the province of Ontario. The vaccination data page on the province's website now includes unvaccinated, partially vaccinated, and fully vaccinated for those that are in hospital and intensive care. The district's medical officer of health says the new data reporting format will show how effective the vaccines are at fighting off serious illness.
I think the most important measures are looking at people, for example, who have serious illness that require hospitalization and like ICU admission, and just compare those, because that's the real where these vaccines make a real difference.
Don't expect the local numbers to include the same details. DeMille says with so few cases, they're wary of breaching privacy for the few COVID-positive individuals.
At this time, because our numbers are so low, we haven't sort of looked at doing that. But I think it is something, if the numbers go up, that might be worthwhile to do.
The low numbers are specifically 5 active cases of the virus, and DeMille confirms that some of those are the more threatening Delta variant.
The first 2, I think, happened in April, so it's been 8 during that time. And of course, it does take a little while to get that confirmation. And the 2 that we reported yesterday were both Delta.
The Thunder Bay District has noticed a slight incline of its active cases recently, something the medical officer of health is concerned could increase as more restrictions are loosened.
What we've seen is people who have been traveling, so they're going to other jurisdictions, somehow acquiring the virus, and then they've either returned here because this is where they live, or they're people that are coming into the area.
Corey Nordstrom, TVT News.
Traffic and green infrastructure topped the agenda at last night's City Council meeting. Councillors directed city staff to prepare reports on the feasibility of a municipally run tree farm and hydroelectric power production at the Boulevard Lake Dam. Council also voted to look at a possible speed reduction on a stretch of West Arthur Street. Ryan Bonazzo has details.
Neebing Ward Councillor Cody Fraser's call to reduce the speed limit on a section of Arthur Street will come back to Council for a vote in early December. On Monday evening, all 11 councillors and attendants voted in favor of his motion, directing administration to study the change. But first, Fraser clarified that not all of Arthur Street would be affected.
My intention behind this would be from Parkdale Avenue West.
That's where the speed limit jumps from 50 to 80 kilometers an hour. He admits not all of his constituents are on board.
Folks from my ward that live specifically along Arthur Street, they obviously want this. Individuals who live on 20th or 25th Side Road in the subdivisions in those areas use this thoroughfare to commute every day, and they aren't too keen on it being reduced.
But he believes the change can improve road safety, with the designated truck route still stuck in procedural limbo. Council also approved 2 new 40-kilometer-an-hour zones on Lily Street in front of the new Matawa Education Centre and on River Street in front of École Catholique Franco-Supérieure. Those will be in place next month, pending council ratification.
Thunder Bay and the whole world needs more trees.
At-large Councillor Peng Yu's request for a report on the feasibility of growing trees locally rather than buying them from growers in southern Ontario was also approved.
In the recent presented net zero strategy for combating climate change, it is projected that we need 100,000 more trees planted by 2050.
But council removed language directing that the trees be grown at the conservatory, not wanting to tie city staff to that location.
I'm almost positive we do not have capacity for this in the conservatory. However, I do think that the goal of planting more trees in the city is absolutely admirable.
Administration will report back by the end of the year. Finally, council will also hear back by next March on the possibility of resuming hydroelectric power production at the Boulevard Lake Dam. At-large Councillor Mark Bentz notes he's only looking for a very high-level report.
It would give us a little bit more information before asking for a more thorough analysis, maybe by a consultant.
Ryan Bonazzo, TBT News.
Anishinaabe Nation members will find out tomorrow who's been elected as their new Grand Chief. The 49 Nan Chiefs will participate in a vote to cap off a 2-month election campaign. Today marked the opening day of the annual Kiwewin Conference, and outgoing Grand Chief Alvin Fiddler shared some final remarks.
It is a calling to be in these positions of leadership, and it's not just a title. It comes with a heavy responsibility. I just want to say that it's been my greatest honor to have served you as Grand Chief these last 6 years. Miigwech.
The 2 candidates in the race to become Nan's next Grand Chief are Derek Fox from Bearskin Lake and Bruce Shishish from Attawapiskat. They each got the chance to virtually address the Nan Chiefs and other delegates today ahead of tomorrow's vote.
If elected, I want to visit your communities. That is my first 100-day plan, is to ensure that this vision that I share with you is the vision of the people. That any changes that need to be made will be made by the people.
I believe I have the skills and experience to make a big difference, a real difference for my people. I want to improve the lives of First Nation community members.
Meanwhile, 8 candidates are also in the running to fill the 3 deputy Grand Chief positions with NAN. All of the election results will be revealed tomorrow on the NAN website. The Trudeau Liberals are once again touting their decision to make FEDOR a standalone agency with more autonomy over its funding decisions. This follows a previous announcement in April when the FEDOR changes were included in the federal budget. The official changeover came at a media event in Sudbury today, with FEDOR officials joined by northern politicians, including MP Marcus Pawlowski. The speakers made note of the work Minister Patty Hajdu put in to make this day a reality. Hajdu says she's excited to see what FEDOR can do as a full-fledged regional development agency.
Well, Budget 2021 actually provides an additional $80 million to FEDOR. So I think they will notice a difference. That's a lot of money for Northern Ontario. That's a lot of support for new businesses, a lot of support for economic development projects. I can tell you FEDOR is one of the most active files we have in our office. We are regularly writing letters of support for some really great innovation.
The owner of the Thunder Bay Shipyard says they've solidified the future of the business by acquiring local company Fabmar Metals Inc. Currently located on Pacific Avenue, that company will continue to operate under the Fabmar brand. President Dale Reinanen says he and his 12 staff will be relocating by the end of the year to the shipyard facility run by Heddle Marine. Heddle already had a strategic partnership with the local fabrication and marine repair firm. Heddle officials say acquiring Fabmar will strengthen their position as the largest Canadian ship repair and construction company on the Great Lakes. Earlier this year, it was announced the shipyard will build components for Canada's new Polar-class icebreaker, and Fabmar is now looking for more skilled tradespeople to join the local operation. And we have another Thunder Bay Lottery winner to tell you about. Martin Blanchette was at the OLG Prize Centre in Toronto today to pick up a check for $50,000. Top prize in the instant Quest for Gold crossword lottery. Blanchette says he likes that game because it supports Olympic athletes. The 67-year-old Blanchette says he will share his winnings with his daughters, pay some bills, and enjoy being debt-free. Congratulations, Mr. Blanchette.
Yeah, probably not a bad way to go about winning that money. Pay off some debt. Pretty good idea. Listen, if you